During this whole time where like comics have really been kind of canceled and fucked over and people have tried to like get us out of here, the comedy clubs have actually stood by us. Wow. Like I can't think of a single comedy club that's banning comics.
G'day ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're doing real well. It's time for the Butterfield Effect podcast, and this week my guest is American comedian Andrew Schulz. He's absolutely killing it all over the States. He's doing tours. He just finished a sold-out Australian tour and he's taken over the globe. He's been on Joe Rogan's podcast and now he's taken a step up in his career being on my podcast. But ladies and gentlemen, I will preface this podcast by saying we are two comedians talking horrible shit to each other, trying to find the funny in topics that perhaps aren't normally that funny. And I know a lot of people might be offended by what Andrew or I say during this podcast, and I just want to let you know this. We talk about offense all the time on this channel, and it's important to understand that even though I or Andrew or I may say something horrible, it doesn't mean that is how we mean it. That's the great thing about comedy, is you can say something horrible, horrendous, mean, atrocious, and you're only saying it to make people laugh, so it's not that bad. But I want to let you guys know that we're all good people here, all right? We're allowed to laugh at horrible, stupid, shit things and still walk away with our heads held high. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you do, make sure you check out our Butterfield Effect Clips channel. It's all the little bits of clips, the best bits from the podcast. The link is down below. And if you enjoyed the podcast and you want to support us, check us out on Patreon. The link is also below. I really do appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, without any more ado, here is my conversation with Andrew Schulz. Andrew Schulz, thank you for joining me, coming all this way.
Yeah.
What are your first thoughts of Australia? We like this with Australia when guests come over here.
Yeah.
We act like it's, we've got a new girlfriend and we're going to a bar with our mates. We're worried she's a bit fat or something like that.
Yeah.
And we go, what do you think of her? What do you think of her?
Oh, you're curious about like our take. Yeah, I hear you. Perth was great. I love Perth. We were in Perth. That was great. Adelaide is a dump, man.
It's a shithole.
Yeah, it's really a shithole. And people seem to be aware of that. But like we flew from New York to Hong Kong and then Hong Kong to Adelaide.
Oh, so you landed in Adelaide?
Yeah. And it's like, don't do that.
It's a terrible move.
Yeah. It's a long way to fly.
Fucking oath. And then walk out into Adelaide. You're expecting to see the Sydney Harbour Bridge and koalas. You're just seeing meth heads, junkies.
Yeah.
It's a terrible place.
Yeah. But Perth was beautiful. We went to Perth next and it was just fucking gorgeous.
And check out the beaches.
This is great. I love how Zach is laying there right now.
Fucking
This
Zach.
is awesome.
See, he's in the middle of this. He always
Does everybody
has to
know you that does this podcast? Do people know who you are?
People on the Instagram
Do you
know
have
who
a
Zach
shot
is.
of how he decided to lay down? Like some fucking Roman emperor?
Zach has an Instagram. Zach has an Instagram that I've created. Pig of a Man. Check out Pig of a Man on Instagram. 2000.
His real Instagram is redheaded lesbian.
Yes, that is.
Gingered lesbian.
No, that'll do.
Red-bearded lesbian.
Red bearded lesbian.
We'll have to cut that out. I don't want him getting any followers from this.
Oh, dude,
You're
let
a
it
pig.
go. He's gonna ruin it regardless. But yeah, dude, Adelaide was a dump, but Perth was so beautiful, and then Gold Coast is obviously. Well, that's where we're staying. Right now, we're in Brisbane.
Yes, you're in
Okay.
Brisbane now.
Yeah.
We're filming this up in Brisbane, and Brisbane's a weird sort of city because it's not much going on.
Right.
Like there's very little going on. It's like Sydney without any.
Thing
Without
going
anything,
on.
without any
Yeah,
context, without any substance is the word I'm looking for there. There's a river that runs through it. It's brown. It's shit. People fucking hate it.
Give me the substance thing, because Australia's been interesting. Not a lot of fucking people here.
No, there's
Like,
20
there's
million
no
people.
traffic, there's no anything. Yeah,
26
yeah.
million people in the entire country.
Yeah.
Right, and I think LA's got something like 20 million.
I don't know.
Something.
Yeah, a
a
lot.
Fucked
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
In Australia, there's no one because
Mexican. No,
you can't live in the middle of the country. You can only live on the outer edges.
Why can't you? I don't buy that.
It's too hot.
We got Arizona.
We don't have air conditioning.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Because it's too far.
Should figure that shit the fuck out, dude.
You can't
Put
get
an AC
power.
there.
You can't get power out there.
Why not?
Because people don't want to live there. It's too hot.
But you can.
But it's not near the beach.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't want to. Want and can are very different things.
I don't want to go. I've been inland once and it was fucking awful.
Right.
Never again.
At the Uluwoo.
No Uluwoos.
Yeah.
I went to...
Whatever that thing is, the rock.
The rock that people are using as a
Dude,
church now.
how boring is the middle that a rock sprouts and they're like, no, this is it.
People are saying you can't climb it.
That's Aboriginal Vegas. Fucking roll the dice, bro. This is where it's at.
I heard on Twitter that you've made some Aboriginal jokes.
Oh yeah, it was my guys, man.
I got in trouble for doing that.
For Aboriginal jokes?
Yeah.
What was your take?
Well, it was a talk about that he was talking about you need to be offensive to everyone. That's what's important in stand-up. You need to give everyone a bit of a go. And
you need to give everyone a go. It doesn't need to be offensive.
It can.
It can or it cannot be. I guess that's my feeling. Is like, if the intended goal is to offend, then it's kind of corny. But if the intended goal is a joke and it happens to be offensive, then
it's all good.
Yeah.
My one was, I have a guy that has an Aboriginal friend who would know about offensive things happening to him in his life, or being offended, or being marginalised.
Yeah.
And he happens to be an Aboriginal guy, but he has a lot of white characteristics, like a job.
Right.
And that was the bit, right? I put that up to advertise my special that came out at the start of the year, and I got a lot of hate for that, but all by one group of people. None of them Aboriginal. All of the whiteys.
Yeah,
those
people.
Filthy,
that's what I've realized. The filthy whites. The filthy whites. People are always offended on behalf of someone else. Like I had this, someone had a seizure in a show that I did, and I was making fun of them, and these seizure groups came after me, and all the emails were, my daughter has epilepsy, or my cousin, it's never the person with the epilepsy. All the epileptic people were, probably dead, but the ones that weren't dead were reaching out to me, and they're just like, hey, we thought it was funny, etc. So yeah, that always happens.
See, I've got epilepsy. I've got a form of it.
What is that?
So all that happens, right,
Yeah.
is I started to notice this when I was about 20 years old. And I've talked about it on YouTube quite a bit.
Yeah.
What happens is I lose control of my eyes. They go they're trying to look behind me, and they turn over here. I go blind in this eye. My head turns like that. It gets stuck like that for about 10 seconds. I'm completely conscious through the whole thing.
Right.
And I just come back to normal. Now this happened when I was young, and I was just like, what the fuck is that? But as a lot of men do, they just ignore it and they go, whatever. And then it was my 21st birthday. I had a big night on the piss. It was great, all right? I ended up pissing in the cupboard. It was fucking awesome. And
yes.
I get up the next day and I have it standing up, and I think, okay, I need to go and address this. And it turns out it's some frontal lobe epilepsy, and it's just one of the things in my life. But if you can't laugh at things that slightly affect you,
just fucking laugh, dude.
You just got to have
fucking losers, man. Just imagine your life being so good that you have to be offended on behalf of other people.
Is that because there's just nothing to worry about?
Yeah, because their life is fucking boring. They've figured out, they have no problems whatsoever. They have to find groups to be offended on their behalf. It's pathetic. That's the biggest privilege. Is you don't even have anything that you feel bad about. It's you don't have any trouble. Nothing.
It's one of those things with climate change, the big discussion at the moment.
I don't buy that shit. Fuck that little twat. I don't buy it. I don't buy it whatsoever. Her ancestors were Vikings and shit that just raped and pillaged. I think I'd rather be raped than listen to her. She's a worse version of her ancestors. Does that make sense?
Greta Thunberg?
Yes. She's this, whatever her fucking name is.
Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, it's just she's continuing the trend of Swedes just traveling around the world and making it miserable for everyone.
Just ruining it.
Yeah, just fucking ruining it. Everything was fine.
Raping.
That's it. You're just raping me emotionally.
And she's a young girl with Asperger's. And I don't buy this
Asperger shit.
No, I'm telling you, she's got Asperger's. Because she might be able to save the world, but she can't maintain eye contact for more than 30 seconds.
She looks straight into the fucking camera. She's weeping. I thought that they didn't have feelings, the Asperger's people. I thought autism and Asperger's where you don't have feelings. You're good at counting and shit, or you're good at Piano, yeah, piano, instruments, playing cards.
Long division.
That kind of stuff. Anything that's robotic. But she's out there feeling so affected by the environment. That's not Asperger's. But I think what it is it can't be a white girl that says it, because then they'll be this is...
Well, that's come out today.
What's that?
That she is too white. Her privilege is too much that she can't say this about the environment.
They thought they were going to get around that by saying she had Asperger's, because they're people wouldn't criticize some retard, but it's they will.
And of course they will.
Yeah.
Because she's white.
She's mentally ill, bro.
She is.
Yeah, she is.
She is.
Why are we listening to anybody with autism or Asperger's about anything? That's just, it's like, why don't you, if you get like too close to them, they'll just fucking tear a cat's head off. Like you can't, this is absurd that we listen to kids about anything. It drives me crazy.
I completely disagree with you. I don't really. But this is my YouTube channel. I know what they're fucking like.
Right.
And this is the thing. I don't know if you've had this problem with YouTube, talking freely about shit. Do you ever have things taken down? Because I've had at least 2 or 3 videos taken down. I've been threatened with different things. Facebook's a whole different thing. I can't upload anything there.
Yeah, we don't even bother with Facebook.
There's no point.
Instagram kind of sucks too. I'm shadow banned now.
We spoke about that.
Yeah,
shadow
you were
ban.
telling me. Yeah, we were going to do a video with you.
And
I'm sorry we didn't get that.
What the fuck happened with that?
Yeah, my bad.
You're too busy.
Sorry.
Too busy for me.
I
Too
was
busy this little Australian bearded dude.
I got here.
I know, you did one better.
Yeah. I just want some merch, man. That's why I'm here.
I'll hook you up. Zach will hook you up.
Yeah, perfect.
You've got mine on, do you?
He does. That's all he wears.
That's literally.
Your boy. Yeah.
Remember the merch. Shadow ban, you, Andrew Santino as well, was talking about that.
Yeah.
I looked my name up when I looked at yours from someone else's phone. I was like, well, that's not me. Like,
are you yanked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
300, I mean, who's counting? 314,000. Followers. How are they shadow banned? You know, this is something we've spoken about, or a lot of people have spoken about for a long time.
Yeah.
Shadow banning people are like, nah, that's bullshit. That's not a real thing. It has to be. Instagram is just saying, okay, these people, listen, we'll let them be there, but we won't show them to new people.
Yes. Basically.
Like I looked up your name today.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see if Zachy had made an appearance on your Instagram story.
Oh, he's been all over it.
And and I looked your name up, couldn't find it, gave up, and then I was just scrolling through Instagram and your post came up.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on?
So they don't exactly hide it. They just like put it way down on the search. Because they know most people will go, oh, if he's not one of the first 5 names, then he probably doesn't have Instagram. They know what they're doing, but it's just, their way of kind of like silencing voices that might be problematic. Because they want their app to be all about joy and like positivity, right? Like YouTube too. Like, do you get the reviews on your videos now?
No.
Oh, so like now what they're doing with mine is like you'll watch a video and then they'll like ask the people to review it.
Okay.
And it's like, was this inspirational, positive, happy, thoughtful? And it's like, my comedy's none of that. No. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's just funny, but they want this positive experience. They want Will Smith. Everything's got to be Will Smith, which is great.
That's what they want with stand-up. They want it to be Nanette. They want it to be this powerful message where it's a speech. It's
what is your guys' take on that?
It's fucking
Nanette.
awful.
But did people like Nanette?
No.
Where do people like Nanette?
Nowhere.
I'm trying to understand where the fan base is. How'd she fill the theater? It's a big theater.
Where was that at? Do you know?
When she filmed it. Wasn't it out here in Sydney? It looked big.
Connor? Opera House. It was the Opera House. Okay, massive.
So she's
2,000
famous.
people? Yeah. So this is the Australian comedy industry as a whole, right?
Yeah.
This is this very simple breakdown.
Yeah.
You are picked early on, then you're pretty much brought into the group. You're
like
a part of the
Bollywood.
clique.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you put up, and then all the advertising money's put behind you.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
And if you're someone like me, who's a piece of shit, you're kicked away and never to be heard from again.
Right.
Basically. And thankfully for YouTube, I can still make a career out of it.
Yes.
But these people are picked, they're put on a pedestal, and whatever they're saying is accepted as funny.
The gospel,
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's breaking down now, right?
It is, but Australia's a slow adopter. Anything that America does, we follow, but it takes 2 years, 3 years.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, but it's
That's
a long
not a bad
time.
turnaround. Yeah, I guess it's a long time, but like, eventually those people lose,
Well, look at all the big comics in America. They're all filthy.
Yeah, and they're also all like digital guys.
Yeah.
Like outside of Chappelle, but that's grandfathered in. Anybody
100%.
new is digital. Anybody new selling tickets, I don't know anybody selling tickets, matter of fact, that's new that came up in the traditional system.
Well, I mean,
Can you name one person?
The biggest YouTuber to be selling tickets at the moment is Rogan. His videos are huge. He gets more plays, more listens, whatever you want to call it, on his videos rather than his audio platform through podcasting.
Yeah. I mean, it's nuts.
He's massive.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like if you can't name one person who's actually selling tickets in the traditional model, in like the Hollywood model or whatever you guys call the Australian model, like you start to realize, oh, it's not worth doing that. Right? And then that's when industries fall apart.
So you look at the Australian model right now, you would be hard fast to pick someone who had been, who had made their own audience.
Yeah, I don't know any Australian comics.
No, and there's none that are successful other than Jim Jeffries and Hannah Gadsby. That's the only ones that are successful.
Yeah, but Hannah's successful by like their choice.
Yes, she's been picked up. She's the
Greta Thunberg of comedy.
She's autistic too.
She might be.
She is.
Everybody's autistic. I hate this fucking autistic thing because Asperger's is like not real autism. Like, I got a buddy whose brother's autistic.
My
as
brother's
fuck.
autistic.
Okay, so you know what it is. You're like shitting yourself. It's a problem.
Yeah.
It's like difficult to be a person. This girl, autistic people can't sail across the Atlantic.
No.
That's not going to happen. You know, they'll probably have like a breakdown. There'll be something going wrong. They need structure. They need.
I couldn't sail across the Atlantic.
Fair enough. But what I'm saying is like, you know what I mean, right? It's like, you know, autistic people, as long as they're put in their like, in their structure and their everyday
environment,
routine, they can actually function quite well.
Yes.
You don't get structure and everyday routine on a fucking sailboat going across the Atlantic.
No.
So,
Who sailed across the Atlantic?
Greta,
What? When?
because she won't fly because it's bad for the environment. Yeah, you didn't know about this?
I didn't know that.
Also, sailing across the Atlantic is the most Viking shit. But it's like, but that's what their thing is. You know, that's what their thing is, right? It's like, this is just, we don't listen to adults when they have like these like super liberal causes, so they just get kids to do it. Like, that's what the school shooting shit in America is.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's like, guns are bad, and we're like, yeah, shut up, pussy. And then these kids go like, guns are bad, and we're like, I can't call a kid a pussy. All right, kiddo, guns are bad. And they realize, oh, that kind of worked with the school shooting kids. Okay, let's get a version of kids that care about the environment.
And this is what's happening on Twitter at the moment. Is I've been watching, because I follow weird people on Twitter. Like I found this one person on Twitter who displays who has blocked them as their bio. So naturally, I followed them. And they were like retweeted that I followed, and they're like, "What the fuck? This right-wing fascist is coming after me," and all this type of stuff, which is hilarious. But anyway, it's interesting to watch that place work because people are just constantly just punching on. Like, everyone fucking hates everyone in there. It's great. It's a great place for material. But the thing with the climate change thing is with Greta.
Do you believe in climate change?
I think that putting greenhouse gases into the atmosphere isn't a good thing.
Right.
I think that you should push toward
What's a greenhouse gas? That like aerosols and shit?
CO2, methane.
Yeah.
We should be working towards better choices rather than fossil fuel and coal. Like, for example, when the first cars started coming out, Tesla was big at the time, right? And Tesla wanted to make everything electric because everything was, in his mind, was electric.
Right.
But the bigger companies with more money, more political pull, decided, no, we're going to go with petrol.
Yeah, but he would have fucked shit up. Like, we would have never had Wi-Fi if Tesla got his way.
But what would we have? We could have had something else, something much quicker. In Australia, Wi-Fi is fucking awful.
Yeah, I guess.
The internet speed here is terrible.
But you still don't want to be plugged in. I guess what I'm saying is like, this Tesla guy, it's easy to look back and be like, he had it, it was the fucking truth. And they're like, maybe he was a douchebag. You know what I mean?
I guess
maybe
the point,
he was a fucking cunt.
Well, I think he was autistic as well.
I think he was a cunt, dude. Yeah. And did they kill him? I'm kind of glad.
Why?
I know, just like everybody acts like he's the fucking truth. Like if he was the truth, he would have done it. He's just some guy with a good fucking idea, and like we don't even know if it worked. Apparently, he made some car that like ran off of like water or some shit, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
but I, like everyone else, know fuck all about him.
But the point is, like, if you do it, people want to make money. People are in the interest of making money. That's like these people who are like, oh, you can make so much power out of solar. It's like, no, you can't. Like, you think ExxonMobil is an oil company? They don't give a fuck about oil. If you find a better source of energy, they'll just use that. They do all the research. They do it of fucking algae or whatever these people want to say, wind. It just doesn't create enough. Like, dude, you take this much oil and you can push a car that weighs 2,500 pounds 2 miles. That's insane. That's an alien-like substance. Once we can find that somewhere else, they'll do it. But until then, you can't. It's not that crazy.
It may come from asteroids. It may come from comets.
That's what oil is.
Yes.
Oil's got to be asteroids or some shit. Well, it's dinosaurs, isn't it?
It's dinosaurs.
But they shouldn't be
decomposed organic material.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think what I'm trying to say is that eventually that may run out. Or it may, or in New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
For example, I was just
over there.
over
You think
there.
we'll run out of oil?
Probably not. It's probably like the diamond industry, right? The diamond industry is based on just lies.
Dude,
it's just, oh, we've only got 10 left, mate. We've only got 10 left.
That's the thing.
Do you want it?
It's like, we're never going to run out of oil.
I don't think so. I don't know anything about it.
Dude, they said there's like tons of oil under Greenland. Remember, like, Trump was trying to buy Greenland?
And he put the meme up of Trump Tower on Greenland.
Dude, I loved it. But he was like, I promise I won't do it.
Did you see Trump's tweet about Greta the other day?
Yeah, they're so great. Yeah.
Oh, what did he say?
Happy girl. Looks like she's thinks the future is going to be bright or some shit.
To have a president, and
He's the best.
I love
He's the
Trump.
funniest. He's the funniest president.
Hilarious.
Hands down, funniest president.
I hope he's writing these tweets and it's not like some social media guy. I really hope that he's just going, write this.
Yeah, I think there are guys that'll throw stuff towards him, but like, I also think that he's got it in him because when you see him live, sometimes a bar will just come out, just kind of organically. That's why the debates were so much fun. I mean, American politics is just so much fun. It must be fun for you guys because there's like no stakes in it for you.
No one gives a shit about Australian politics.
Yeah, about anybody's.
No one cares.
You go to Canada, it's just all our news. Their news is about our news.
Even in Britain, when Boris Johnson just became Prime Minister.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was going to happen.
What's his whole deal? What's the thing with him?
He looks like Trump.
Yeah.
He sounds like Trump. He's on the same side as politics as Trump.
Right.
And people just think, people are laughing at him, but he seems to connect with a certain group
Why are they
of people.
so against Brexit, these like English people?
I don't know. I don't
Why
understand
are they
it.
so anti-Brexit?
I don't
What's the
understand
big deal?
They want to get out of the European Union, right?
Yeah, shouldn't you want to be out of the union?
Don't you want to be
have your own
independent?
shit.
It's like moving out of home.
Yeah,
Eventually, you've got to get
You should be a
out.
fucking adult, England.
You're 7,000 years old.
Exactly.
Get the
Figure
fuck
it the fuck out.
Get out.
You're living with your fucking mom and dad in Luxembourg or whatever. Like the idea that like some guy in Luxembourg could like make the rules for me would drive me nuts.
You're
I
running
hate
off
it.
Greenwich Mean Time.
Bro,
You need to get the fuck out.
Get the fuck. Even America, we don't even like when America makes our rules. We're like, America, you can make a few rules, but each state, we're gonna make our own rules. That's the whole idea. The whole idea was back in the day when you like made the country up. In order to get from Maine to North Carolina, it took like 4 months. So it's like, why should I let some fucking cuck in Maine decide what I should be able to do with my farm in North Carolina? How about just, no guns or guns? Yes. Free speech? Yes. Okay, we agree. Everything else we handle with the states. Dude, England, get out of that fucking European Union.
And England is tiny too. They act like they're these
Also,
big
Europe's
fucking...
so gay. It's just like, dude, cut it out, bro. You know what I mean? Like, stop half-assing it. Just like, be about it or don't. Like, fuck the union shit. It's either we're one country, all of us, or we're none of us.
Wouldn't you want to be a separate place? Just have your own order about things? Like, I
Yes.
get that it's money and it's tax details and it's transport and it's bringing things in and taking things out, but wouldn't you just want to be...
I don't care about all that.
Australia's still led by the Queen.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I think that's so pathetic.
It is.
Like
and
when
we had a vote
Yeah.
to become a republic and they voted no.
Yeah, you're part of the, what is it?
The Royal...
Crown or some shit like that.
Yeah, under
but
that
like,
shit.
that bitch is on your money still, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that's pathetic.
Isn't
dude.
it?
Yeah. When I'm in Canada, I have a little less respect for them and I love Canada, but like, you can't have another person's leader on your money.
Well, you pricks had a war about it.
But to get them out of there.
To get them out.
Yeah.
And we won't even have a vote.
Yeah,
and people are freaking
and you
out.
could be out. You get nothing out of it. Out of the relationship,
nothing.
right?
All we do is I think we pay a bit of money.
You pay them.
I'm sure.
To have her face on your money.
I guess. Wouldn't you
what?
you'd want to deal with her?
You want
Like
what?
if you were her
Yeah.
and you were on someone's money,
You know what I'd tell her?
You want some
This is what I'd
kickbacks.
tell her. And I learned this term in Australia. I say, get on your back and wet up.
Who the fuck? In Adelaide? Adelaide? Did you hear that in Adelaide? Yeah.
I learned in Perth.
Get on your back and wet up.
Yeah, she's sizzling at the slit. Dude, I'm learning such good.
What did that bloke say the other week, Zach? Oh, I got me Mrs. Arm and peeled her open.
Dude, get on your back and wet up is the best, bro. I love it. But anyway, yeah.
This country is
Get her off
full.
your money, dude. Put some Aboriginals on that shit or something. Right? Is your money green? They love sitting on green shit. Oh, that was the Aboriginal joke that nobody got upset. It was, the joke I had was, it's like everybody makes a big deal about like Aboriginals not being able to like assimilate into white culture. And it's like every time I see them, they're having a picnic. It's like they're just drinking wine on the grass. Like this seems like they're fitting in, guys. I don't know the big deal. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think that was that offensive.
It's not, but it's this weird thing in Australia where you cannot talk about them at all.
I also said that their pussies probably smell good because they're sitting on that grass all day.
Just like fresh cut grass.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Like a summer's afternoon.
Exactly, yeah.
When we were, Zach and Zach probably said this, I didn't say this for any brands watching.
Yeah.
We were up in the Northern Territory and there's a large Aboriginal population up there.
Where, in Downton?
In Northern Territory.
Oh, that's the name of it?
And yes, Northern Territory. So Darwin. We're in Darwin.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Not
up the top.
Downton, Darwin.
Up
Yeah,
the top.
yeah.
And mate, they're just sitting there. They
love to sit. They fucking love that sitting, dude. Leisurely, these people.
They're relaxed. Got
Not
all
a
the
care
time
in the world.
They got all the
Yeah,
time. Well, it's known as blackfella time.
What is that?
Blackfella time. They're just cruising.
Black fella time. Okay, yeah.
There's a thing called blackfella time.
They've looked like they've been here since the beginning of time. To be honest with you, when you see these fucking people, bro, you're like, holy shit. Dude, it's crazy. You know what it looks like? Like when they make eye contact with you, it feels like a painting in the museum like shifted. Do you know, like in Scooby-Doo, when like the eyes on the paintings on the wall like start moving? Dude, this one got locked with me, and I'm like, you're not supposed to be able to move. It's me like you and a fucking woolly mammoth should just be like interacting. But then this motherfucker looked at me. I was like, oh, it's going down. This is interactive, bro. This is VR. We're in the VR museum.
Like one of those statues in the street that moves. You go, oh fuck,
Dog,
it's real.
It got me, bro. It's like when Asians see black people and they're like,
Fucking hell, I'm terrified about posting this.
why?
Not because of what I or what people think, but what YouTube will say.
About what?
About you. You can't talk about Aboriginal people at all.
Why not?
You're not allowed to. I was talking about this yesterday. I
They
think we
don't
should,
exist. I took a picture of one after the show. There was nobody there when I looked at it, bro. There was nobody in the picture. I'm just sitting here like this, like an asshole.
Like a vampire.
I was like, I took a fucking picture with you, bro. I took a picture with you. Nobody's there. That's the big thing. It's all a myth. It's like
conspiracy.
climate change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aboriginals are climate change.
Do you think
bro.
Greta will come out and speaking?
Say what?
Greta will come out next week with a speech about Aboriginals. What do you think she'll say?
Dude, I don't think she cares. I don't think she cares about Aboriginals.
He's saying that Greta Thunberg doesn't care about Aboriginals?
I don't think she cares
What
about
a piece of
Aboriginals.
shit.
She is a piece of
What's
shit.
wrong with
Dude,
that?
it sucks she's not 18. Because
I
like
know.
there's so many things I would love to say to her,
I
but
know.
and it's not even about her, even though it is.
It's not.
It's her scowl. You stole my childhood. You stole my childhood.
What was she
Stupid
saying
fucking
before?
accent.
What was she saying? What's that main thing? Isn't the thing? You said,
It's probably this. You stole my childhood.
How dare you?
How dare you steal my childhood? Who stole your ability to pronounce shit, dude? You're 16. You grew up with real English. That's how like 90-year-old fucking Swedes talk, right? You grew up with fucking Friends on TV and The Simpsons. Where the fuck did you get? Who stole my childhood? Maybe she is retarded. Maybe that's what it is the whole time.
Man, that Asperger's was just hanging out.
Dude, there was one moment she looked a little retarded in the speech. Like she started to tear, and then she like picked it up with her finger and then like sucked on it, dude. She like just drank the tear. I was like, oh shit, this girl might be retarded, bro. So crazy. But yo, listen, keep on going with the environment, dude. It's all good, Greta. You got that shit. Dude, the balls, man. The balls that she could come to America where kids get shot up in schools and act like the biggest issue is fucking, what is it called at the top and again? Ozone layer?
Ozone layer.
Or some shit like that.
They
Like,
say there's no ozone layer across Australia, above Australia.
there isn't?
They've been saying that for years. I think it's bullshit.
Is that why people
No
keep
one
getting
talks about
turned
it
into
anymore.
Aboriginals out here? It's just direct sunlight on an Englishman. Just 40 minutes later. You really can't say anything. Like, I don't buy it because I had Aboriginals in my show.
No, but they love it.
They love it.
They love it.
It's a bunch of fucking white people,
100%.
privileged white people
100%.
being offended on their behalf, which I think is actually the most offensive.
Man, I did this show.
Think about it, though. Think about it. That's
100%.
the most offensive thing that you could do is because you're basically saying they're not capable of handling a joke. That means your view of them is so low and so pathetic that they're not capable of handling a joke. You and I are making jokes like we would about anybody else because we believe that they're an adult and they can handle it. They don't believe that they're adults. They don't believe they're equals. These people that have offended on their behalf don't see them as equals.
The same thing happens with feminism. When you make jokes about
What's
women,
feminism?
well, some shit.
Is that the
Greta
shit
was
that those
talking about at the
fucking
start.
dykes are always talking about?
The ones with the fringes to here? Yeah, those cunts. You can't
I'm
make
just joking.
jokes
Shout
about
out to
women.
dykes, bro.
You don't want to halve your market. That's what they're saying. They're saying they are lesser people and they can't handle this shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's just fucked up.
Right.
You should be able to talk as much shit as you want about anyone
we're just trying to
in
make
the
you
endeavor
laugh.
to try and make people laugh.
We're just trying to make you laugh,
You know,
dude.
if
That's it.
I think this is where people fuck up though. Like,
Yeah.
you're a comedian, I'm a comedian, we're trying to make people laugh. If you say this horrible racist shit on stage, you make people laugh, great. If you say that horrible shit in Parliament,
Yeah.
okay, not as great.
Yes.
You know, it matters about the context and where you are.
Yeah.
I often, if I've got a heckler or someone who's carrying on,
Yeah.
I often try and hurt people by
Yes.
saying horrible shit.
Yes.
Like I know they've given me their money and their time.
But that's not enough.
But that's not enough for me. I
Yeah.
want them to remember me for the rest of their lives.
Yes. You want to take their soul.
I want their soul. I'm like
Yes.
the Grim Reaper, right? I'm like one of
Right.
those things in Harry Potter that comes down and makes out with them and just fucking takes
What is it
everything
called?
away.
Poltergeist? What are those things called?
Death Eater.
Death Eater, yeah.
I'm like
yeah,
a Death Eater.
Death
A Death
Eater.
That should be a quote on one of my posters.
Yeah, that's what I
Zach,
call
write that down,
Aboriginals.
motherfucker.
Yeah,
I don't know if they picked that up on the microphone, but I heard it. But I just think that and I'll be interested to see what your take is from Australia when you leave. But
yeah. Everybody's been great so far.
And your crowds know who you are too.
Exactly. Like my crowds know what they're coming for. If you come to my show and you're upset, then you clearly have no clue
Yeah.
what my comedy is or like how I do comedy, and you're there for the intended purpose to like push boundaries, and I hope that I'm pushing boundaries with every single joke because that's what's fun for me because that's the highest stakes. It's like there's some people that like surfing little waves, there's some people that like surfing big waves, right? And like the big waves, the chances are you die. Now, there's no equivalent to that in comedy, but like I like surfing the big waves of comedy, if you will, because I like the highest stakes. I like if I fall, it's really bad. But if I make it, it's really good because it's like, oh shit, he was able to talk about that or make that connection, et cetera. It's like, even with the Greta stuff, some people are going to be really turned off, but it's like, give me a few weeks.
Yeah.
All the shit that we're saying about Greta right now is going to be really funny.
Yeah.
In like a few weeks, you know? She also doesn't look 16 enough.
How old do you think she looks?
I don't know, but doesn't she look younger?
She looks like 14.
She looks too young.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something, I don't know. I don't buy this whole thing. What do they want? What do they really want? That's the question.
I think because she's 16 and no one can fuck her, that no one can talk about her negatively.
Speak for yourself. No, okay. This is just a joke, guys. It's just a joke, okay?
When someone is
We have
of
real laws in America.
Sexual age, then
Yeah.
you can talk shit about them, right?
Yeah. I think so. It's a tricky thing. Yeah. But then, it's like there's
I
nothing.
actually had, on the topic of climate change, I had a climate change activist that recently shut down Brisbane. 73 people were arrested. They shut down one of the main streets in Brisbane.
With what?
People just standing in the middle of the streets, right? And this is why we should have guns here. And
Or Muslims.
Or,
Get a truck, clear that fucking street. That's the one time the right wing, the right wings and the Muslims come together. There's just some climate march in the middle. They're like, all right, guys, shall we hold hands? Should we unify? Let's make some room.
like the Power Rangers, they just come
They got
together.
shit to do today. Yeah. They form like Megatron and they just pull them over. Oh, it's great. That's
And
so
she
good.
wouldn't come on the show because she found out that I'm anti-Semitic, racist,
Yeah.
sexist, misogynistic, all those things that are very true.
Yeah.
And she came and she said, she emailed through and said, we found out about Isaac and we're not coming on.
Right.
And I was just like, this cunt. She refused to take phone calls, emails, any of that shit.
Yeah.
It's hilarious that someone who is so outspoken and will willingly go out onto the street and shut down traffic in peak hour won't come and talk to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's like they want attention, but on their terms.
Yeah.
It's just an attention thing, these people, right? They're just bored. They got nothing to do. It's a chick, right?
Yeah.
No kids.
Yeah.
None
She's
of them have kids.
23.
Yeah. Fat a little bit.
I bet.
There's like a little
Hairy.
Yeah, hairy. They all got the same body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're kind of. Yeah.
It's not a fat body. It's like
No, they're dumpy.
Yes.
They're just a little dumpy, and they don't want to put the work in to get it back. You know.
You
and they're single.
imagine they'd overflow on a toilet seat.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. I just could put that together. That was pretty cool. Yeah. And it's, listen, there's guys there for you. I don't know. That's the other thing. It's like, you know how like when guys don't get laid, they end up shooting up a school? Like when girls don't get laid, they end up like caring about these causes and shit. So it's like, just as like girls need to like fuck with these guys that are a little uncomfortable in school, like maybe we need to be dishing out dick to all these like kind of frumpy chicks before they start caring about straws, you know?
How do you fuck a feminist?
Oh God, I don't know. Is that a setup? You got
No,
something
it's
for
not.
me?
I'm just.
Oh, I thought you
I'm
had something
searching.
for me. I was okay. This is.
I was going to go down the route of Greta with the rape and pillaging, but I thought that would be a bad sort
Oh
of.
yeah, she's too young.
It's a bad. No, not raping Greta.
Yeah. She's raping us.
That's a better way to look at it.
I just feel emotionally raped by it.
So do I. That's
Yeah,
what we
yeah,
meant.
yeah.
For fuck's sake.
How do you fuck a feminist? Is a funny. We should just go on about that. That's a good hashtag. How to fuck a feminist. How would you fuck a feminist?
I wouldn't. I know I would in anger.
Yeah.
Because it feels like you could have an argument while you're fucking them.
Would you like rub your beard against hers?
Her big bush.
No,
like
her beard.
and Velcro would just happen. Just start joining together. You get stuck there.
How do you fuck a feminist?
I remember I had
It's kinda
this.
funny.
I was with this chick once, and she had the thickest, most dense bush.
Yeah.
Like it was bushland that people would get lost in. Like it
Oh,
was
God.
it was horrendous.
Yeah.
But it was spongy. You know?
Oh man, it was really thick.
It was really thick, and like
Yeah.
she had put attention to detail into it. She was
was proud of
curating
it.
it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was something that was like an old dude's lawn.
Yeah.
She was looking after that shit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And she wouldn't shave it, and I asked her
Were there
nicely.
Aboriginals sitting on it? Dude. She's at a nude beach. You just start walking up and like, putting down their little box wine. Don't mind if I didgeridoo. Do they play the didgeridoo, or is that whites?
No, it's Aboriginal people. They play
It
the
is?
didgeridoo and tapping sticks.
And tapping sticks. Whoa. Dude.
Tapping sticks they're
Yeah.
up there.
Okay.
They're
So that's it, yeah.
and I'll just explain to you what tapping sticks are.
Yeah.
They're these sticks
Yeah.
that you just give
Just
them,
tap.
Just tap.
Oh, that sounds like an activity at a gay bar.
It's in the toilet. You want a line of coke? Or you want to tap sticks?
Man, did we go to a trash club last night, bro?
Oh, where'd you go?
What was the name of it?
Sin City.
Bro, the whole thing was carpet. Dude, it stunk, dude. It was actually fun. Like when we were in there, the music was pretty good and like there were some people, but the smell of like the alcohol that had been in the carpet for so
years.
long. Oof, man.
Is that not a thing? Because every nightclub in Australia has carpet.
Is that right?
I think so.
Maybe
or at
we
least
have
the
carpet
bar.
back home. Do we have carpet back home? Cool, guys. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys. I don't think we do carpets.
But
back home.
I used to work in a pub, and they'd change it maybe every 7 years.
Right.
But they'd rip it up, and underneath is just mold
Just
and
stick-
shit
oh, yeah,
and decisions, bad decisions, and jizz, and
Yeah.
it's just an awful place.
Yeah.
You ever seen someone get fingered in a nightclub?
I've done it.
Nice.
Yeah,
So have I.
yeah. Definitely had some nightclub fingering, bro. And you never clean your hands before. That's something I always wondered about, like girls who are like super, like they're like super hygienic and shit like that. Like, I don't know. Have you ever cleaned your fingers before you put them in a girl?
But you wouldn't want to hand sanitize them. You at least want to give it a good
burn
30
them.
seconds, yeah.
Yeah.
I once used Listerine to clean my dick.
Listerine.
You know Listerine? The
Yeah.
mouthwash?
Yeah. I'm
Are
from
you-
America.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Who invented Listerine? Is that a Tasmanian thing?
We have Listerine
Well, the way
in
you
all the
asked me.
flavors.
Listerine. I use Listerine to clean my cock after...
For what? Bad situation?
Just a bad dinner. No, after sex. After
Yeah.
sex, I said, this is unclean.
But it was that regretful? It was like,
So my dick stunk for about 2 weeks. That was the whole...
Whoa.
Like 2 weeks.
whoa.
It was bad. And it
Yeah.
was pungent. Like I'd
Really?
go for a piss and I'd be at work and you'd
smell it.
You would smell it and it would make you remember. It was like PTSD. I was having flashbacks.
Yeah.
I had a bad head and that big bush.
Yeah.
And it was terrible.
That's a pun.
Bad head,
No.
bad head, big bush.
I'd go for a piss. I was having PTSD. See, guys, we're cooking with gas. You know what I mean? It's not all Aboriginal jokes. It's horrible puns, too, okay?
And the Listerine doesn't burn,
Yeah.
but it does give a bit of a tingle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, yeah.
I use the minty fresh flavour.
That's yours, yeah. Minty
and
fresh,
that
yeah.
was my sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's one of those things where sometimes you got to clean. Anyway, back to the fingering.
Yeah.
No, I'd never clean my fingers prior to fingering.
Yeah, you never do.
I miss fingering.
Yeah, it's fun. The first time's always fun.
And now you get to, how old are you?
35.
All right, I'm 26. I don't finger anymore.
You're 26?
Yeah, I know. I look old.
Bro, you look old, Tom.
You get rid of this beard, I'm a child.
I know. You got old teeth.
I drink a lot of coffee. I had my teeth whitened like 6 months ago. You motherfuckers are whitening my teeth. Suck a dick. How dare you?
26, dude?
Nah, it's a harsh
Dude,
wind.
people look old out here, man.
That's why we don't live in the middle of the country, because there's no hole. There's a hole in the ozone layer.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting fucking melted. We're turning.
They really are.
We're burning.
Dude, because Zach, how old are you, Zach?
Oh, he's old.
He's 28 or something like that, right?
Man, he
He's
just had
only
Botox
28.
and his forehead
He
is
was
in
telling
reverse.
me about the Botox. He'd be like opened up very early about
I know.
that.
It's like the first thing he says to people.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach, had Botox. Yeah, I
But he
know.
said, me and the mates went to get some talks.
You and the mates. That's
Yeah.
fucking bullshit.
We were getting some Talksy.
Remember the old
he said
BT?
that? Yeah, we getting the old BT. better
Throwing a
than-
few needles in. Hey, hey.
Yeah, that Botox shit is interesting. Do you ever do Botox?
No.
Never done it?
No.
Okay.
No. I should, though. I got this big fucking crease here.
Yeah, but we're supposed to. We don't have to like look good.
Oh, no. I don't need to look good.
Yeah. Just be funny.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what Zach doesn't have.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. He's
Nah, he's a funny motherfucker, this guy. Not intentionally. Like,
No.
have you ever heard him try to spell?
I heard. I heard about this.
This
What
is legendary.
What can't
bro.
What can't he spell?
Dude, we asked him to spell unfortunately, right? Here we go. He goes, oh, that's a hard one. All right. He goes,
Oh, that's a hard
honestly, he goes, somebody said, unfortunately, he goes like this, he goes, oof. He just made a sound, right? That's how you know it's tough. And he goes, I don't reckon I can do it. And then we go, just try it. We like bully him for 5 minutes to try. And then he goes, all right, fine. And he goes, now I'm thinking, I know where unfortunately gets difficult, right? It's usually at the end, last like third of unfortunately where you go, right? So we're like, all right, spell unfortunately. And he goes, all right. You! Bro, letter one. Dude, letter one. He was looking around for insurance, bro. Dude, it was crazy.
Can you do it now?
Nah.
Bro, he went, you! N. P-A-F.
So Zach's from a place in Queensland called Longreach. And
Yeah.
Longreach is in the middle of buttfuck nowhere,
Yeah.
right? Just out nowhere. He used to travel 4
hours for KFC.
You know this
We've
story.
heard all the Dak stories, man.
Fuck, I
We're
love
good
this
buddies.
story.
4 hours
4
of
hours
KFC.
for a KFC and then 4 hours back to
Yeah.
get enough KFC for the week.
For everybody. You would get it for all the friends.
For the whole town.
For the whole town. He
Fed
would
the
do a
whole town.
KFC order, man. God bless him.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
How do we get...
I'm glad this podcast is about me.
Oh, well, you're just laying down behind us. It's quite off-putting, really.
Yeah, it's great to look
You're
at.
laying there, all
A fucking
sexual.
Elephant seal.
Paint me like one. Paint me like one of your elephant girls. Paint me like the elephant man.
Dude, this is a great look for you, man. You look like a beached orca. Zach! We've just been ripping Zach for like the last 4 days. It's been bad.
That's my favorite part about touring with Zach. Is
it's
you
the
just
best.
it makes you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, I hear you.
Tell me this.
Yes.
Let's because I don't want to talk about Zach.
All right, sorry.
That's okay.
My bad, Zach. Love you, man. Yeah.
We got a hashtag about Zach. Hashtag fuck Zach.
Is it?
Yeah, people use it all the time. It's great. People
Really?
yell it out at shows. Hashtag fuck Zach.
Hashtag fuck Zach. Oh, we got to get that going on this
great.
tour. Hashtag fuck Zach. All right, we're going to get you on the story with
Do
it.
you get
Yeah.
I am not liked by the comedy community in Australia.
Right.
Do you put a lot of content up?
Yeah.
You're probably someone who people would call an internet comedian.
Yeah, for sure. YouTube.
Now, how do you do, well, not how do you do it, but do people give you that in sort of the club environment? Do people look down upon you because of that?
No, I don't think so. Because I think that, how do I say this in the best way? I think the people I have relationships with, they know me, so I care what they think because they actually have a sense of me. And the people that don't know me, a lot of times they see me as their salvation in a way. And let me pull that back before it seems too exaggerated. Meaning the way I go about content, they've started to go about content, and then they've been able to get some followers and get some views and some traction. So I think a lot of them are very grateful that I kind of went on these platforms, like Rogan and stuff, and I was like, hey, you guys should go copy this and run with it, and I think it can work for you. Instead of, I think a lot of comics might be like, oh, they're taking my shit, or they're doing my shit. So I basically try to help out as many comics as I can. If it's not directly, then indirectly, but I try to lead the new way I think comedy is going to be done. So my reaction, especially from the comics beneath me in terms of years, has always been really positive, because I think they don't have the ego thing. With your peers, there's always competition. We're going to have that. But no, I think my relation with them is, but then again, I'm not super close to a lot of comics. I have my guys, but outside of that,
See, I don't see anyone here.
Never.
It's weird because
But you should, man. You got to be in it.
You can't be.
Why not?
Because you're everywhere else that they aren't.
But
if
you
I'm-
don't have clubs that you guys just perform at?
Nope.
So every time you perform, it's your show?
Yes.
See, that's different. For us back home, we have to interact with one another because we're doing these spots.
There is clubs in Melbourne, like the Comics Lounge, which is a great room in Melbourne.
Yeah.
You talk to people there, you hang out there. If you drop in and do a spot somewhere in the big capital cities, mainly Sydney and Melbourne.
Right.
Anywhere else, there's no comedy scene where I'm from.
Right.
There's an open mic room once every 2 weeks, and that's where I cut my teeth.
Right.
I cut my teeth from listening to Joey Diaz talk about stand up on Rogan.
Really?
That was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then through all of that, that's got me to this point. So just to have that influence, and that's the important thing with podcasting,
Right.
videos, the
So
internet,
you
all
have
that type
to
of stuff.
develop material every 2 weeks?
Yeah,
That's
just to do
fucked.
5 minutes. Well,
That's
there was
nuts,
a lot of
dude.
shit.
Why not move?
I like Newcastle. It's a good spot.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a really nice spot.
So like the rest of your life is really nice there? Like what do you
No,
you like,
I
you got
like
a dog or something?
I do. I've got 2 dogs.
You got 2 dogs.
One's a
yeah,
greyhound, beautiful dog.
Oh, okay.
And I think that the thing with Australia is because everything's so close.
Yeah.
Like Sydney's only a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
But even in Sydney, like there's that, you know, you can't perform at this club because your material is seen as offensive. You can't do this room down in Melbourne because, okay, you're not PC enough or you're not.
So that's something in the States that like we don't give enough credit to, is during this whole time where like comics have really been kind of canceled and fucked over and people have tried to like get us out of here. The comedy clubs have actually stood by us.
Wow.
Like I can't think of a single comedy club that's banning comics. Matter of fact, when Louis came back, you know, like Louis was at the Cellar and the Cellar was getting tons of heat. They were getting protests outside and they were like having articles written about them. And the owner of the Cellar, shouts to Noam, he was like, it's not up to me to decide. Like if you think that he did something illegal, that's up to the justice systems. You know, that's the justice system to decide. I'm not the jury. You're putting it on me as the club owner because you don't feel like he was punished for what he allegedly did. But it's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
So if you really think he did something illegal and these women think he did something illegal, then press charges. Until then, you're not going to put that responsibility on me. And that's what we do a lot in the States.
Yeah.
But the clubs have been like so supportive of us. Every time I kick a table of people out, I've kicked fucking 20 people out of a club.
Really?
And the club is 100% supportive. They're not chasing the fucking checks and trying to get the dollar. They're like, we don't want your business here. So
Wow.
I shout out the clubs as much as I can. Cellar, New York Comedy Club. I mean, those are places I'm most at in New York, and they've been the best.
So we don't have that here at all.
It seems like they don't have it here.
It's piss poor, to use an Australian term.
Really?
It's just terrible. It's like you have to fit a certain mold or you won't get anywhere in the Australian comedy industry. So
Yeah, they wouldn't let me perform in Melbourne Festival or Sydney Festival.
Really?
We asked them forever, and they wouldn't let me do it.
Well, I nearly got the boot for a Jew joke that I did, or a Holocaust joke that I did.
Really? What's the joke?
So it was about, it wasn't even about the Holocaust. It was about vegans coming to my show being as welcome as a Jew at turning up at Auschwitz going, oh, if you get to know me, maybe you'd like me, right?
Right.
So a lady was in the audience.
Right.
She didn't like that. She sent me this big long-winded email about, hey, listen, you can't say that. I loved every other joke. There was a joke in there about the Christchurch massacre, which happened a week beforehand.
Right.
Which was about the...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that type of shit.
Yeah.
So Old Love thought that was fine, but what I said about the Holocaust, which wasn't even about the Holocaust, wasn't
Right.
fine. And I had the shits with her because this is my personal email that she somehow got, and I just fired back, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the oven.
Yeah.
Classic, right?
Yeah.
And so that ended up, the Australian Defamation Commission got involved in that. That was in every newspaper article in Australia. It was even in the what's it called? The Israel Times.
Really?
Front page.
Whoa.
In Israel.
Holy
Anti-Semitic Australian comedian. And the Melbourne Comedy Festival stuck by me. They said, we don't kick anybody out for that.
Right.
You know, that our artists, we don't support what he said, but our artists are allowed to say whatever they want.
Yeah.
And I commend them for that because
100%.
I really thought that they would say no more, which would be fine for me.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter. I'd just go next year and do it anyway.
Right.
You know, but
Yeah,
for them to stand by that with the pressure, and particularly in Melbourne, which is the most progressive state, city in Australia, state of Victoria is the most progressive state by far.
Yeah.
You know, they're the ones with the gender laws and all this type of shit, and they're the women's marches are all there and all that type of business. And
What do you mean gender laws?
Gender laws, so that you can change your gender on your birth certificate, and you can do all these different types of things down there, and you can become every gender as much as you want, and it can change and chop and change whenever you need it to, and how it suits you. I think Greta's going down there to change hers or something like that over the next couple of weeks. I can't confirm nor deny that, but I'm sure it'll happen. And, you know, it's one of those places.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe what's a progressive state in America?
California, New York. Yeah.
So it's like that, where people will just do whatever they want, and they push that sort of, the Greens are very much have a big stranglehold on there, which is the party which are looking after the environment and all that type of shit. Can't get marijuana legal there, though.
You can't.
You can't.
It's weird to me, that this has become such a big fucking deal. But yeah, I mean, it's good that the comedy festival stood by you. It's a tricky thing. You're in a tricky space because, like, at the end of the day, like, you don't do comedy so that people are pissed off at you. You know, you do comedy so that people laugh. Like, at least that's been
you want to make people smile.
I literally just want you to laugh and, like, have joy in your life, because I want attention, and I don't feel like I deserve the attention without you getting something out of it. So you laugh, I get attention, and now we're both having a great time, and we get to do something ethical for a living. It's a pretty awesome existence.
Absolutely.
But you got to be careful because, and you're in a different situation than most because you got, your YouTube, so you can control your narrative. But you got to be careful that like you're just as known for your comedy and your funny bits that are hilarious as you are for someone getting pissed off. Because like the last thing you want to be known as like every joke is to piss someone off, because you're going to attract the people to be pissed off.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right? So it's like what we've done is like for us is just like I want to curate the audience, because the audience that comes to my show for the most part knows what they're getting into. So I don't have to deal with any of these people being upset. Right? It's like
it's the same for my shows.
Exactly. So you're ready for it. And they're ready. And then you have the odd person, but like usually if one person in a group, is very rare that they'll like push back against the entire group. Every once in a while it does happen, but you just got to be careful with that. I'm sure you put your stand up out and you have like clips and everything so people know. And everybody just told me you're funny, but that's something that they'll try to run with. They'll be like, this anti-Semitic comedian or this blah, blah, blah comedian. It's like, that's not what you want. You just want to be like this hilarious comedian who happened to have that joke that someone's offended by.
I think it's important to have, as you said, the mix of the horrible shit, the things like the podcast, where people get to know the real you, or they get to understand, other things that you're about. A lot of the stuff I put on YouTube is me talking to a camera where I'm talking about a serious issue. And people get into that, or the way I started YouTube was I put things out about my local area and then slowly built. So now it's at Australia. It's slowly built out, and now I'm trying to make it go wider than that, obviously. And you bring people in with the things that work, videos about certain topics like vegans and stuff, and then over time you bring them into other things, opinions, beliefs, and they trust you and they will listen to you on those type of things. I think what you're doing is fantastic for stand-up across the world.
Thank
you, sir, and thank you for your time today.
For sure, man.
I'll let you
Thanks for
go
having
and
me.
fucking get something to eat. I know you're fucking hungry.
I'm cool. I'm chilling, man.
Andrew, thank you, sir.
My brother, thanks so much for having me, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, where am I? Where's my camera? Right there. The Butterfield Effect. We're back again, ladies and gentlemen. Some of our best work. Holy fucking shitballs. Don't forget to check us out on iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review and Zach will come over and fuck your daughter. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say this. Zach, you're a dirty pig. You are an absolute... check him out on Instagram at Pig of a Man.
Dude, Zach. Fucking Burger King Zach. Dude, that's what we gotta call you, Louis BK.
Goodbye. See ya. Bye.